There is one particular scene in this movie that is more fitting to be on the world's most popular adult website. And by that point, if you don't know what movie you are watching or what you are in for, then why are you here? And then I thought to myself, why am I here? I guess we're about to find out. Here are my immediate thoughts on Terrifier 3. Hey everyone, this is Lenny here. So I just got out of Terrifier 3. This is the newest batshit insane horror gore fest monstrosity from Damien Leone. And he brought us the other Terrifier films as well. This stars David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. Also brings back Lauren LaVera as Sienna Shaw. She was the final girl from Terrifier 2. I just want to get right to the point. You may notice my voice is a little off. I'm just getting over something. But yeah, I had to see this movie. And this movie is absolutely, it's chaos. And I'm just going to say this from the jump. If you don't like these kinds of movies that are absolute wild, over the top, splatterfest, and I'm talking about, some of the most insane things like the Evil Dead series, or like The Hills Have Eyes, or something like Cannibal Holocaust, or the Saw series, anything by Lucio Fulci, or any of those like crazy Italian gore fest movies. Yeah, if you like those movies, this is the movie for you. If you do not like those movies, stay the fuck away. You will hate this. And I'm trying, and I'm saying this because I'm trying to be as truly objective as possible as a film critic and as both as a fan of this franchise as well. So yeah, let's just get into the plot, go down this rabbit hole. So this takes place 5 years after the events of Terrifier 2. We're following Sienna Shaw, played by Lauren LaVera. And she is, she's trying to get by. She's still, an emotional wreck. She has PTSD. She is still seeing like insane images of her dead friends, obviously everything that happened with her and her brother. She's just in a crazy state. She's gone through psychiatric treatment. She's on medication. She's in a bad way. And I have to give it to Lauren LaVera. She was excellent in this. She went for it as a final girl. As us horror hounds know, the term as she is up there. Damien Leone, the director, the writer-director for this movie, put her through hell. I mean, I'm talking like Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, Evil Dead shit, or something like the final girl of the Hatchet series. Just putting them through the absolute ringer, and it just, and this movie just was insane. So yeah, it's 5 years after all of this. Sienna's trying to deal with everything. Her brother, Jonathan's trying to deal with everything. He's in college now, and Sienna's now staying with her aunt and uncle and cousin. And, they're trying to kind of keep things together and, everything. But Sienna's still really trying to keep it together. And while, she's trying to keep everything, straight in terms of like her own psychosis, Art the Clown is just being insane and batshit. And there is so much that Damien Leone is doing in this 2-hour splatterfest. There is, you can see that he loves horror, and he throws elements of everything. There are the supernatural elements and the relentless nature of how out the clown kills that is very reminiscent of Jason and the little bits of some silent dark humor that's especially from like part 6 of Jason Lives, where that's really the moment that Jason Voorhees went supernatural. There's the dark humor and the taunting that Art the Clown does that is so very reminiscent of Freddy Krueger. And this movie, Terrifier 3, for me, is like Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Like, you know, we got Nightmare on Elm Street 1. That's a classic. That introduced Freddy and that introduced some basic elements of the lore. We got Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I love that movie, but it's just kind of its own, you know, solo monster. But Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was really the movie that gave Freddy Krueger, you know, everything that was kind of the sweet spot where we got, you know, all of the lore about Freddy, and, you know, that he was still super menacing, but, you know, he was able to find that spot where he was just so evil and cold and mean-spirited, and, you know, and Art the Clown in this movie is in that spot. There is some dark humor in this movie. There are scenes that you are not supposed to laugh at, but it is set up for you precisely to do that. There are scenes that I will admit it's going to make you uncomfortable. There are scenes that I am not going to lie. If this is not your movie, you will probably walk out. There is a mall scene that is insane. There is a bar scene that's wild. There's stuff that Damien Leone throws in that has to do with like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in terms of like getting into the killer's head and the whole sheer chaos and anarchy, insanity of torture, and getting into that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially the original, you know, really got into the grittiness of that. This is a very dirty, grungy movie, and that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one especially, you know, captured that, and then this gets that. This also kind of gets into some weird ways, you know, with the relationship between Art the Clown and Vicky, who is the survivor of Terrifier 1. She's played by Samantha, I think, Scaffidi, and they have this relationship, and there's kind of like this weird sort of study, you know, in terms of their relationship, but she has like she's involved in like the lore. And I really do appreciate that Damien Leone did look to expand it. I mean, Art the Clown is going wild and he's killing everything in his path. And I'm just going to say this, no one is safe. No one is safe in this movie. If you are a good person, if you are a bad person, if you are an adult, if you're a kid, it doesn't matter. If you are in Art the Clown's path, it is just, you know, yeah. The gore effects in this movie, the practical gore effects are probably the best I have ever seen. If you don't have a strong stomach, if you have a weak constitution, this movie is going to be over the top for you. This movie is over the top. And that's kind of the thing that I want to say, that in terms of like how the gore effects are done, it is very over the top. You know, when Art is decimating bodies with whatever he decides to put his hands on, it is very, very, you know, like I said, Sam Raimi, Evil Dead, blood splattering everywhere, just super cartoonish at times. But it is spectacular. And if you are into that type of stuff, I mean, you are going to get everything that you paid for and more. And what I really enjoyed too, Damien Leone has certain cameos in this movie. that I really appreciated. There is one particular cameo that is so earned, and when he showed up, I was like, you deserve to show up in this movie. So yeah, that however they were able to get that arranged, that was amazing. I really appreciated that. But yeah, this is crazy. Art the Clown is killing everything in his path. Vicky is there, with him, and basically Sienna has to try her best to try to survive. And it's just, it is insane. So I'll say this. I saw this movie in an absolute packed crowd. There was no empty seats in the theater. Everyone was just going crazy for this movie. If you are into this shit, you're into this shit. You are going to have a hell of a time. If you are not, if you do not like insane gore, if you don't like absolutely mean-spirited, cruel movies that sometimes absolute skirts on the border of nihilism. I also appreciate too that this is a movie that really you can watch at Christmas or during Halloween. It's October right now, and this movie worked at this time. But you know what? You can watch it, at Christmas time. This hits the nice spot, just like Nightmare Before Christmas. You can watch that movie at either time, either holiday, and it works. And I think this one kills it in that manner. Damien Leone really captures the whole Christmas festive spirit, and really plays with the vibe and the elements of Christmas. You're hearing a lot of familiar Christmas themes, and there's a lot of familiar elements of the holiday spirit and everything like that. Santa Claus is everywhere, Christmas presents, all that stuff is in there. So yeah, you can watch this. Another one like this is Gremlins too, because you can watch Gremlins. I think you can watch that during Halloween or Christmas time too. I do think that this was better cut. I guess the Terrifier 2 was long. I think it was like 2.5 hours or something like that. But this was, I think, right at 2 hours, and it worked, I think, because, the movie did really focus a lot on Art the Clown's, brutality. And that's what, the fans came to see, and they got their money's worth. And, but I think that the movie was a lot tighter. Like I said, this has a lot of parallels to Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Warriors, because that's where the big time lore of the Nightmare on Elm Street, franchise, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, really got, took off. And I think this is where things are taking off too. So this is the big time horror franchise now. I think Art the Clown is, becoming one of the big name horror icons. David Howard Thornton is amazing. His performance he's funny. Like, first of all, that's the first thing I want to say, is that he is hilarious, but he is also so menacing. There's the other thing. There's like the whole Michael Myers thing. He's like the silent stalker, the thing, but his facial expressions are always on point. But there's this like playfulness. There's this evil whimsicalness about him, because he knows that he's the most vile, evil, cruel person and he doesn't give a fuck, and he knows it, and he wears that loud and proud on his sleeve. So like, he just like nothing gets in his way, and that's just who he is. I just want to stress again, man, this is like a crazy movie that just goes for it and goes so far that you think that a movie is not going to do a certain thing. You think a certain genre is not going to cross a certain line. And then when it does, you're just sort of like, what? You know, there are certain movies out there. Beware Children at Play. That's a trauma movie. I'm being sorry, deep cut. But the finale of that movie is insane. And when it happens, you can't believe it. And there are plot elements, and I appreciate that there's a story. Like I said, there's a lore and mythology that's growing now with this franchise and with this story. But this is spectacle. This is Damien Leone's WrestleMania 3 of his franchise. This was pure spectacle, especially when it gets to, you know, the battle between Sienna Shaw and Art the Clown. She has to deal with, you know, people that are podcasters that want to, like, you know, get them on her show, and she has to deal with so much. And she, Lauren LaVera, again, she was so fantastic in this movie. She was put through the ringer. I appreciate it so much, but this movie is wild. This movie is wild. This movie is wild. If I'm going to give this movie a rating, I'm just going to say right out, for me, as a fan of the genre, this is the blockbuster. I have to. I knew precisely what I was getting into. So when it delivered on certain elements, and I'm shocked out of my mind, at the back of my head, I'm like, you paid your ticket for this. You knew that this movie was going to be insane. You knew this. So I'm saying, for me, as a fan of the genre, as a fan of horror, as a fan of someone that enjoys practical effects and practical gore effects and going down the rabbit hole of extreme cinema and watching, you know, all the video nasties from the UK that, you know, from like the 1980s and everything like that. But here's the caveat. Let's say if you are not a fan of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you see a chainsaw in a horror movie and you're like, nope, I don't want this, I'm out. This is not the movie for you. I'm just going to be real with you. But this movie was wild. It was funny. It was literally terrifying. Damien Leone is so good with pitch and mood, playing with the elements of humor and horror at the same time. And Howard Thornton is, you know, a big reason for that as well, because he's able to play everything so right in terms of being menacing and funny at the same time. Yeah, this movie just was, for me, a fun time. And like I said, if you see this in a packed theater, you're gonna have a great time. That's all I can say. This was a long ass review. I get it. But yeah, there was a lot to talk about. This movie is crazy. But yeah, if you're a fan of, if you know what you're getting into, if you've seen, you know, all the other movies, yeah, this is gonna give you everything you want. Those are my immediate thoughts on Terrifier 3. What did you guys think of the movie? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.